What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Fallout 4 Mods Weekly. If you guys have never seen this series before, which frankly, how have you never seen one of these series before? Nearly every Fallout 4 YouTuber has one of these. Regardless, basically what it's all about is I will show you what in my eyes were the best mods to be released this week and give you some links to download them in the description down below. This was actually a really strong week. We had one mod in particular that is something a lot of people have been requesting for a very long time that was finally released. It's a little bit buggy, a beta version, but definitely one of those mods that is going to be pretty huge over the next few weeks and even months. Regardless, there's not much else to be said. If you guys do enjoy it, I encourage you to consider subscribing. I do have a Redbubble store that I just kind of started to sell some merch and kind of help out with some of the bills. I'm going to link that in the description if you're interested. Otherwise, let's just jump straight into it. So the first mod I do want to show you guys is going to be the M9A1 pistol. This is going to be a new mod by iCanLast. He's been actually releasing a number of mods lately, a number of different weapon mods. So here we do have one of the pistol mods. He is a relatively new mod author, a relatively novice mod author. He's actually reusing a lot of assets that are publicly available and free to use. Regardless, this mod actually does one thing very right that a lot of pistol mods I feel like really overlook, and that is the sounds. I think this mod sounds awesome. Between the regular sounds and the silencer sounds, I just really get a realistic vibe from it. Beyond that, the gun itself does have pretty good textures, especially when you're in first person. They're not like the highest quality textures I've ever seen, but they definitely pass as far as Fallout 4 goes. One area I think there definitely is room for improvement is the weapon attachments. There aren't many weapon attachments for this gun, but regardless, again, those sounds really just make it stand out pretty substantially from a lot of the other weapon mods out there. There's no real clipping or anything like that with the animations or hold animation. All around, definitely a pretty cool weapon mod. Definitely one I would recommend downloading just to see how big of a difference sounds can make on a weapon. I found it to be extremely satisfying to use this simply because of the silencer and again regular weapon sounds. Next up, we do have the Black Widow armor. This is going to be a new mod by DeserterX and MITOSUKE. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. These are some very well-known mod authors that have made a ton of mods for both Fallout 4 and Skyrim Special Edition. They're especially well known in the Skyrim scene of things. Regardless, this is going to add in a very iconic and unique new armor into Fallout 4. Basically, it's going to be kind of a dark, almost reaping style feel to this armor. It also has a custom ability that makes it really stand out from a lot of other armors in the game. So first and foremost, the armor itself does look absolutely awesome, as is expected from these two mod authors. They have produced so many high quality armors in the past, but even beyond that, it actually adds in a new Pip-Boy texture as well as a new texture for the Widow shotgun. The Widow shotgun's by another mod author, but they kind of work with him to actually create a texture that would go along pretty well with this armor as kind of a companion weapon. So then comes the special ability. Once you have this armor, you could do a modification to the helmet, which is basically going to be Widow Vision. When you have this on, everything's going to be kind of more of a black and white. There is still color in the world, but it's almost like everything's through a black and white filter. But even beyond that, the really cool part is you could see enemies through objects. So you can kind of see a white outline. It almost looks like their soul through an object. And this has an awesome effect. It looks very cool. It's very well implemented into the game. And again, it really makes this armor stand out from almost every other armor right now. This armor is extremely well polished, a very high quality armor, probably going to be one of the best armors released even for this whole year. And all around, I'm just very excited to see what these guys do next. Next up, we do have the Death Trooper suit. This is going to add in the Death Trooper suits that did appear in the Rogue One Star Wars movie that came out only a few weeks ago. The armor itself does look pretty cool. I think anyone that is a fan of Star Wars is definitely going to like this armor. And although the kind of host and all that does advertise the armor as being the premier point of this mod, I think where the mod really starts to shine is the weapon. It's just called the Death Trooper rifle, but just between the looks, the animations do work. I believe it's reusing animations from vanilla Fallout 4, but the weapon itself, again, is just really satisfying to use with its custom sounds and everything. I really think that's the highlight of this mod, and I would almost download that as a standalone weapon mod simply because of how cool and well implemented it is. All around, again, the armor is pretty high quality. It's not, again, the highest quality. It also is male only, which I could see pissing off a lot of people, but regardless, again, it looks pretty cool. I definitely like the look and feel of the gun, especially. I think a lot of people will enjoy this as a download. So now we have the big mod that I was talking about in the intro here. This is going to be Combat Zone Restored. What this mod is going to do is, well, restore the combat zone in Fallout 4. So originally when you walk into the combat zone, you're going to kind of get recognized right away, and then all the raiders will aggro to you and try to start killing you. Then what's left is Kate and that Tommy guy who say they're going to rebuild it, and then you could get Kate as a companion and she'll come travel with you. Well, this is going to change all of that. It's only meant to be used on kind of newer characters or characters that have never made it to the combat zone before. Regardless, with this mod installed, what happens is now when you you walk into the combat zone, you're going to have to fight Kate. The raiders are simply audience members and not aggro to you. After defeating Kate, you'll actually get the ability to bet on fights in the combat zone, actually fight in the combat zone, and it kind of just operates as a normal establishment after that. Again, this is really expanding the functionality here. This is a pretty good way to make caps. You can again place bets on yourself, go fight enemies, and then as you gain experience and level up your melee perks, you definitely can have a pretty good source of income here. There are a few glitches here, especially with the quest triggering. I was having a lot of trouble on some different characters actually get to fight Kate, but again, this mod is so promising. This has so much potential, and it really is a pretty good implementation even thus far. The combat zone feels like a lively place and someplace I want to return to, whether it be just to bet on some fights, to fight myself, or to go to the strip club in the back. So as the last new mod on this list, we do have the AK-74M assault rifle. This is going to be by the same team that brought us the 9x39 project, which if you use that mod, you're going to know this is going to be extremely high quality. This weapon does sport some really high quality custom sounds. I really like the sound of this gun. It actually is a very kind of satisfying firing sound. I really enjoyed listening to myself firing this weapon, especially in fully automatic. On top of that, it actually has custom reload animations, which don't work, at least as of right now. I imagine it's going to be fixed relatively shortly, probably by the end of today, but obviously I don't want to hold off making this video. But for whatever reason, I could only reload in third person, which is pretty frustrating, but also highlights another feature of this mod. It actually has custom third person reload animations, which is very rare for Fallout 4. Not many weapon mods actually have that. And even if all that wasn't enough, it does have some custom attachments, which do look pretty cool, as well as kind of a new magazine. So it's two magazines kind of taped together like you did see in some of the Call of Duty games. And even if all that still wasn't enough, it actually has a bunch of custom weapon skins. So you could have a pink gun, a ground gun. This weapon is extremely high quality. Everything about this gun is pretty much on point. As soon as those animations are fixed, it's going to be a really top-notch weapon mod, and honestly again is really satisfying to use. I really enjoyed using this gun. I think this is without a doubt going to be one of the best AK mods we do have for Fallout 4 right now, and I would definitely recommend downloading it. Also, a big shout out to these guys for releasing this on Xbox One. If you're an Xbox One user downloading this mod, I would definitely kind of just leave a comment thanking them. Their previous project wasn't ported over instantly. I still don't think it's on Xbox One yet, but if they do see that they're getting a lot of attention and a lot of support from Xbox users, I bet it would only make them more likely to port it over sooner. So last but not least, we actually have a little bit of a new segment for this kind of series. So often when finding these mods, I find one that is old but really cool that I overlooked maybe, or just maybe I got an update that really made it stand out to me. So at the end of these videos from now on, I want to include a mod that either A, got an update over time so it is better now, or B, I just really didn't see the first time around. One that wasn't necessarily released this week as with all the other mods on the series, but again is pretty high quality. So the first one I do want to show you is going to be Automatron Unlocked. What this is going to do is allow you to use all the robot construction parts without going and playing through the whole DLC. This is something I personally found very frustrating because I really felt the DLC was pretty lacking and just not all that much fun to play, but I found the robot construction and just all that crafting going on there extremely enjoyable, and when I started a new character, I wanted to jump into it much faster, not having to wait till I'm like level 10, 15, 20 to go play through the DLC. Again, it's a relatively simple mod, probably only going to be appropriate for some of the newer characters out there, but definitely a high quality mod and one that was actually just ported over to Xbox One. So now that will actually wrap up this episode. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Let me know, what do you think of this kind of ending segment? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you not really like the idea? I'd really love to hear some feedback on it, on just what your opinions are. If you guys did watch to this point in the video, comment Razor down below. As always, I hope you guys did enjoy. Again, if you want something to do, you can follow me on Twitter. I've been trying to get more into Twitter lately. I also have a Patreon. I do plan to start releasing some Patreon content in the next week and a half. That's a very specific amount of time. Regardless, again, I thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.